welcome everybody. Sorry we're a little late. We had stuff to deal with, and it was funny because
When you tab out, my face
Adam,
goes away.
Adam goes away. Okay, we'll bring Adam back. Welcome to Eminence TV Live, where we get everything right the first time, and we also talk about cEDH. If you've been watching our Monday streams with Scoos and Ashani, they've been branching off into other TCGs a little bit, and that's been pretty fun. But Adam and I, we don't really have any interest in the other TCGs. Adam, do you love the other TCGs that you can take or leave on?
I mean, I like One Piece TCG. That one's pretty good.
How much have you played it though? Not a lot.
I mean, I have four decks.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, so I'm a little deeper into the TCG world than you are.
Okay, yeah. I'm pretty much strictly Magic. I played a little Pokemon when I was a kid, but I'm sure everything's very different now, and that's not really a comparison. But yeah, if you're interested in kind of like other TCG content, we'll pretty much be leaving that up to Scoos and Shiny on Mondays. But we do mostly tournament cEDH here, and we'll have some cEDH gameplay. This week is just a little chat between Adam and I. We're going to talk about Mox Masters May. But before that, we definitely want to thank our sponsor, the Epic Storm. They are the reason that we're up and running, still making events, still doing good things. They have awesome tokens that I'll show on the screen here. They have, kind of a giant library of resources and tips and tricks and articles from people that are 60 card format masters, and some a couple of articles on cEDH. But basically you are there to pick the brains of Alex McKinley and Brian Cook, two very good players, two players that you definitely want to get inside the brain of if you're looking to improve your gameplay, from minor tips and tricks to like bigger picture strategies. So definitely give it a look, theepicstorm.com. They have a bunch of stuff for you there. But while you're online and while you're sitting on your computer, you might as well open the Eminence Marketplace as well. We have all of our stuff there. We have a bunch of swag. We have a bunch of playmats. And we have our membership tiers there. There is a event coming up in July called the Cookout, which your marketplace membership doesn't do much for you because it's already sold out. But the next event that we'll have, which is Windmill Slam from September 23 to 25 in San Jose, California, the same place we hosted Silicon Dynasty, when that goes for sale, anybody with a gold membership or above will be able to buy those tickets a day in advance, which a day in advance doesn't seem like a lot if you're me and you don't really understand the point, but you don't understand how fast they sell out. We sold 90 tickets before the day of the ticket sales actually going live, and having that like stress off your back of making sure you get a ticket and not having to like wait until the minute they release like everybody else does is huge, especially if you can't be around during the time that they release, which is the case for a lot of people. Some people were on flights on the way to a different event or so on and so forth, so it just takes the stress off. It's worth the $15, I promise. But there's a bunch of articles there as well by a bunch of our favorites like Matt Sperling, like Sam Black, who just came to Adam's event the other day. We'll talk about that more towards the end of the stream. But we will cut the intro a little short because I tend to ramble, and we will go right into Mox Masters May. So, Adam, you weren't involved in this directly. I know Scoos and Ashani did the casting, which was super, super fun. And I was playing. I had a good time. I wasn't frustrated at any of the games at all. And that's, for once, not sarcastic, because I actually had a really good event. And
no way.
Yeah, I didn't misplay at all. There's me at 8th. I did pretty good. I just had a really good game. And I had one of the most interesting, albeit frustrating, top 16 matches of my life. So let's get into it. If we look at some deck lists here, we see the top 16. We see Pong here at the 16th place. Pong is, Robin's a good friend of the show, has been on this Kinnan list for a while now. I feel like every time I play against Robin, he's playing this list. But this Kinnan list is pretty stock, except for the occasional pet card, Perplexing Chimera, which I know it's not really a pet card in Kinnan. Apparently everybody and their mother is playing this card. But we have like an Astral Dragon in here, which is kind of cool. We're on Hullbreaker Horror, of course. And
Astral Dragon is like funny tech. I remember like the first time I heard about Astral Dragon, Hire was talking about it, and like on the Playing with Power podcast.
Yeah.
Like because Hire was piloting like big flips for a while.
Yep.
It's like weird to see. It's cool. It's like fun tech. But Perplexing Chimera, fuck that card.
Honestly,
that thing sucks. I hate it. The first time I ever saw it like in cEDH play was when I was playing at your event.
Yep.
What's that place
Titan.
called? Titan Games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That card is it's interesting. It leads to interesting play patterns. I don't know if it's that good, but it definitely leads to some cool stuff.
Yeah. I feel like every Kinnan player I've ever talked to either hates this card or loves it. You know, there's no in between. There's definitely a learning curve that goes along with this because you have so many of these copy effects from Freshly Metamorph to Phantasmal Image to maybe that's it, or to Mirage Mirror. So you have tons of ways to copy this stupid thing, and so do your opponents, right? Of course, your opponents are in Freshly Metamorphs. Of course, even more of your opponents are on Fimage. So I'm just gonna cut to the chase. My top 16 game was with Robin, and we had 4 of these motherfuckers on the field at one point. I lost my top 16 game to 4 Perplexing Chimeras. And there were several times throughout the game where we were just like, can we just like scoop it up and go to the next one? Because like everybody was either Fimaging it or Phyrexian Metamorphing it, and I wanted to die because it was impossible to resolve a spell. We literally had Jin, the head judge of the entire tournament, just sitting at our table and helping us walk through the resolutions of these Perplexing Chimera triggers. So it was awful. But it was still a very interesting and collaborative game where everybody was very in high spirits and getting along. And at one point, one of my opponents literally said, "Do I just do this, or am I just being funny?" And then he played a copy of a Perplexing Chimera, and he was like, "I probably could have copied anything else here and been in a better position, but that was like too funny not to, you know." So it was a very fun game. Everybody had a good fun time, and that's the list. If we keep moving on, we go to Mitch's Rockside list. I'm going to spend about 2 seconds on this because it's literally every Rockside list ever. We can step on a couple of notables, like...
Narset's new tech. Narset's new tech.
I don't think Narset's new tech. I mean, we're on the Notion Thief plan and have always been. Narset's just another Notion Thief.
Rockside has not always been on the Notion Thief plan. This is like a punt. Like since Punt City, they've been on the Notion Thief plan. Punt City 2. So... Okay. It's like new as of a month ago. So like, you know, Narset, Notion Thief, like they play all the wheels already. You might as well play the steel effects, right?
Sure.
So they're wheeling and stealing. This is like a little bit of a different approach. Scroll down. They're off of Bolas' Citadel. They're off of Transmute Artifact.
Alana's still on Bolas' Citadel, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a little bit of a different list, but new as D-Train said it best. New as of a month ago sounds like old to me.
Yep.
But yeah, there's no Bolas' Citadel, no Transmute Artifact. So like this list is always seeing new iterations and like new variations of what they think like the best thing it could be doing is. This looks like a lot more traditional, minus the steel effects, right? Like normally you don't see the steel effects because like it's not progressing your own board, but it kind of is. Like Notion Thief for sure is, but the Narset really doesn't do anything for you but prevent your opponents from drawing cards.
Yeah, so I feel like Dress Down Necropotence is kind of a cute path. I feel like I've never seen a Rockside list on Dress Down. Am I wrong?
What? That's like one of the best cards ever. I think that any blue deck, right?
Specifically though, like
yeah. How do you stop your opponent's shit? I mean, right? Dress Down.
I didn't think that was no.
Dress Down is like it's the only other spell. So scroll down. Are they on Cyclonic Rift?
Well,
it's sorcery or instant.
Yeah. I'm in the
see,
instance.
they don't run Cyclonic Rift. So they do. They do. Yeah. But Cyclonic Rift and Dress Down are the only 2 effects that let you win through stacks by only casting 1 spell. So if there's rule of law effects out or things like that, like
multiple
if you have
rule of law effects, that's
yeah, you just cast 1 spell, you open up your window, and then you go for the win. Sure. So that's why they play Dress Down.
That's pretty sick. I'd be curious if Alana's on. I feel like I have not seen that in her list lately. But we can move on to Toaster's list. We can close out some of my tabs because it's already pissing me off. A cEDH deck is only good if it can opt for 4 by Toaster.
Oh yeah,
No
you've been
way.
reading all the deck titles, right? Because like Pong's deck title is pretty good
I
too.
have not, but
Oh.
we can go back.
Yeah.
But we're looking at this Dawnmaker list on Invasion of Ikoria because everybody loves this fucking card. We
Blech.
see very typical creatures, Wargate, Winds of Abandon. I love Winds of Abandon. That's sick. Nobody ever has basics to tutor for except for me. Get fucked.
Yeah.
We have the bad Swords of Plowshares art. Just kidding. I love you so much. It's okay, Toaster. Even though you are on some very selective choices like this lightning bolt. That's a pretty sick lightning bolt. All right, never mind. We're on no bad cards, Dawnmaker. We have our Devoted Druid combo in here. We have the bad Mistgrimor art. Yep, we're just staying consistent. Yeah,
I'd argue that's like the bad Smothering Tithe art too.
I'd say this is the best one. Just get the Judge promo. Like, why would you spend extra money? Extra money? Question mark on the Judge promo on the Double Masters border list.
Also, like the worst force of will. I mean, come
Yeah,
on now.
I mean, you know, to each their own. Toaster,
This is like Dawnmaker's a cool list.
It's cool.
I kind of
We're on Fairy Mastermind. That's kind of spicy.
yeah, Fairy Mastermind is cool. Invasion is like a card I'm not like super hot on.
I'm really
yet.
not. Like,
I think
mean,
battles in general are kind of bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love them. I don't know. I
Yeah,
guess you can.
see Scoop saying it too, like Mastermind.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it perform, and I've seen it like in game, and I just don't think it's that great. Like when an opponent draws their second card for turn you draw, like I feel like I don't know. I'd rather be playing even Archivist of Ogma than the Mastermind.
I mean, we're playing that too. We're just doubling down.
Yeah, I mean, in this instance, I'm
Yeah.
saying like if
In general.
like I feel like cEDH slots are so intense that like you don't need to be running these mid-range creatures, right?
Okay.
I don't know. Like people are playing Mastermind in place of Ledger Shredder, and I'm not sure if that's the right play in this deck. Maybe it is because you're not utilizing your graveyard, right?
Sure.
But it's just it's like interesting discussion topics, right? I don't I think Esper Sentinel is like a given, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these other effects, you're kind of searching for more card draw, especially when you don't have like native card draw in the command zone. Like you have Thrasios, but it's cost resources.
Right.
So it's just interesting to think about. The notable thing is you'll never see these cards in like Blue Farm, I'm sorry, Timnacrom.
Sure. Ooh, I see we're on the good training grounds list. But yeah, pretty stock list. Not surprised that they made it where they did. Just a quick refresher, we're at 11 points here for the bubble and 12 points for the sure thing. That's 2 wins and a draw out of 5 rounds, which is pretty decent if you're looking at these win percentages. Oh, these are important win percentages. Oops, I should know that. But yeah, these lists, this wasn't a very small tournament. This was 125 people. So to get to top 16, you have to beat out some pretty decent decks, so we can see why they're getting there. If you look at Clam's list, which is here for a good tie-in by
say it. It's by who?
Just gonna scroll down. Anyway, we're on Tyvar. This is no surprise. We're on Bloodflow Connoisseur, which is just a sack outlet. We're on the good Avian Sensor. Love that. But we're just seeing some light stacks effects along with the Rishkar and this money changer thing. Hang on, let me actually look up the actual name. I always forget this. Acacian Money Changer. This combo that Dan explained to us last time that I've already forgotten. I'm not even fucking.
It's because it puts 3 counters on it. It enters with 3. You remove the counters. Like it's a goofy combo, but
enters the battlefield, deals 3 damage, and then you fucking remove credit counters, whatever. Anyway, White Plume Adventurer. You take the initiative, and then you untap creatures you control at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. I mean, it's a fun list. We're on Young Wolf because it has Undying.
Young Wolf.
Yeah, I mean we're playing Peacekeeper. We're stacking our opponents out. We're playing Drawn and Lavala, the new pairing from March of the Machines. It's in
the 99.
Yeah. Isn't that insane? But we're just getting around these like insanely high win percentage decks by just giving them a bunch of shit that they can't get rid of unless they have, as you said, exactly Cycrift or exactly Dress Down, which we can dress down this Linvala and I guess get through. But it's a cool idea to have all of these cards that your opponents have to read whenever you play them, like Strangleroot Geist, all this Undying shit to have Some synergy with Time is really cool. Run Dismember and Assassin's Trophy, 2 cards that you can only run in Time. Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay, I guess, is kind of a Curious Control thing. Assassin's Trophy too, but Curious Control is, again, just as rare as Time at this point. And run like the Earthcraft Nature's Chosen. This is super cool. We can Song of the Dryads our opponents, and we can Promise of Boonray, where when a creature control dies, you sacrifice it. If you do create 4 1/1 colorless spirit tokens, that's hilarious. And we're looking to Urza Saga in an Expedition map? Or a Jeweled Lotus, or a Mana Crypt, or a Soul Ring, or a Line's Eye
Yeah,
Diamond?
probably any of those other things besides
Yeah.
Expedition Map.
I scrolled up and I was like looking for 1 or 0 cost, and I was like, Expedition map, what the fuck? Like, it gets Scottish Cradle. It's not that crazy. I'm never ready to see in a cEDH list. But yeah, we're doing great stuff. We can see, we can always go to EDH top 16 if we're looking for a good primer. Doesn't look like this Clams has it, but still a very good list. Going over to Step and Razor at 12, we're on Thrasios Dargo, of course, with the worst Llanowar Elves 7th edition to ever exist in the entire world of cEDH. Dear God. Thrasios Dargo is just a polymorph fun times list where I guess you polymorph Thrasios and you sack Dargo to Life's Legacy. It's very fun. We're on blue Elemental Blast, but no Hydroblast. Of course, that makes sense because this is not Nim, is it? But we're just having a good old time. We're birthing potting our creatures. We're defense gridding. That's super sick. We're Relic of Legends, so we can some kind of combo with Dargo. I'm pretty sure I've been murdered by just a Relic of Legends before. Every time people played against me in a Dargo deck.
No, it just makes it can just like make infinite, man.
Yeah,
like,
but it's still part of it. You get it. Because you just keep recasting Dargo and tapping him. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Anyway, listen, I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with Dargo because I've only ever actually played against one Dargo deck, and that was Connor's in the last Swiss round of Punt City 2. And he just hard casted a Razaketh that got forced. So I haven't seen much happen. Anyway, we're moving on. Adam's going to tell us all about Nilston's list. And we're going to read about this fucking Safi list. That's incredible.
Yeah. So listen, I'm not a big Safi Eric Stoddard guy, okay? And Azorius isn't that's not Azorius. What is this called? Selesnya? Selesnya isn't my strong suit. But this list is pretty cool. It's all about sacrifice, tutor through your library. You've got Academy Rector and Oswald Fiddlebender, returning stuff from your graveyard with your Suntide and your Karmic Guide for you're just classic fucking reanimate combos and things like that. Felidar Guardian is looping with something that I'm missing, unless it's just a part of the line. But just a really weird commander to see make top 16, and it's one of those things that is pretty standard with specifically Mox Masters, is that you see a lot of, I would say, off meta brews that perform really, really well into these events. And it's because you have players that are really accustomed to playing one deck and a deck that they really enjoy. And so when you bring it to a 120+% event like this one, you can sometimes have a real strong brews advantage. How many times do you think that you can say in your cEDH career you've played against Safi Eric Stoddard?
Not fucking many.
I don't think I've played against Safi one time.
I mean, this was my first time. I saw her in the last round of Swiss. I played against her when I had to win or draw that one to make top 16. But yeah, I was playing against Safi and I was pretty nervous because I knew that I was at 2 wins at the time. So I knew that I had to either win or draw against this deck, and I had no idea what the fuck it was doing. I had a couple friends in the tournament who had been playing against this throughout, and they had they were just kind of surprised, I guess. But as soon as you see Safi and Safi and I'm blanking. Karma Guide out, you know that you can present a loop to the table of constantly sacking and bringing back Safi to the field with some kind of payoff. And as a deck that has very little protection, it's not super. It's not super guaranteed that you can get a win, but it's so low cost that you can constantly present it. And yeah, you have kind of like repeated effects like Revel Arc. These combos are something that I saw a lot in my friend's Timna Sidar deck back when cEDH was like first getting legs. It was just Timna Sidar value, do this shit, and it was pattern rebirthing into something. Pattern rebirthing into something that does this similar effect that I'm not really familiar with. I'm sorry, Drew, if you're watching or hearing about this. I'll remember to brush up on your old list. But yeah, it was a super good time. Chivalric Alliance was actually here. He would discard cards to create tokens with Chivalric Alliance. Here's the pattern rebirth I was talking about. He would create tokens with Chivalric Alliance, and then he would sack them to Blasting Station to deal 1 damage to target player. And then Blasting Station is getting untapped whenever a creature comes into play. And Chivalric Alliance is getting... I don't know how he refills his hand, but I'm clearly missing a lot of things with this deck because it didn't... the only way it presented to win was by showing infinite Safi ETBs with Karmic Guide, and we ended up stopping it. But yeah, the deck held its own. It's obviously lacking in card draw like every, what is this color combination? Selesnya list is hurting to do, but obviously it made it this far. And we have Brewer's Advantage for days because nobody has any clue what's going on. Moving on to Disco Breaker. I'm actually not sure if I played against Disco Breaker. Yep, we're on Bloodpod. Classic. We're on Activated Sleeper. And we're just using our creatures as fodder into our birthing pod, I assume? No birthing pod. We're just pattern or rebirthing and goblin bombarding our opponents. And yeah, I guess this isn't Blood Pod. Which
No,
yeah.
This is just like
I've been getting kind of used to Blood Pod lists coming off of it and going into like this more like reanimate package. We're on Unmarked Grave even.
This is just Timnatana Hulk.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just Hulk combo. You're playing Timna for the card draw and card advantage, and then Tana gives you a bunch of fodder, things that you can sacrifice, and there's a board state in the mid game. Kian actually played this list for a very long time.
Pretty sick.
And so it performs really, really well, especially into like metas that aren't used to Protean Hulk packages. A lot of people like don't hate on graveyards as much as they should. There was like a while where like people were jamming Grafdigger's Cage in every list that can run it. People are not doing that anymore. People aren't running Rest in Peace anymore. So like these decks can kind of thrive in this environment, and then you can play really cool cards in these types of shells. So like Greater Gargadon is just funny. I love it as a card. You suspend for 1 and you get to just sack shit, which is awesome. Sack your Hulk, and you can do this on turn 1. Body Launderer is like a really unique card that you don't see get a lot of play outside of these decks. Stuff like that. This runs Kiki Jiki Karmic Guide, which is like a really nice line. You have Kiki Felidar Guardian, use Karmic Guide to reanimate, do the whole package, and then
Sure.
Mayhem Devil for sacrificing shit is just like another win condition. It's like there's like a lot of ways to win in a deck like this that's like super layered, which is really cool. Like if you get Hulk pieces in your hand, like part of your combo in your hand, it's no need to worry, because like you have like 3 other lines that you can utilize with the same card package. So it's a fun deck. I really like these Timnatana Hulk decks like quite a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty solid, and it's definitely it flies under the radar like anybody else. Like if you sit down and you're not if you're not like a tier 1 list, you have a distinct advantage, which we can definitely quickly find out with what do people call this list? Kodama Sakashima. There's like a better name for it. You play with David.
Sakadama.
This deck is pretty incredible. I played against this list for the first time at Adam's shop in Milwaukee, and it was being run by Dave, and Dave is a Moloku fucking expert, I guess. And he just cheated Moloku into play and then proceeded to, because you can kind of like, the best way I can describe this value engine is just a domino effect. So as soon as you get 2 Kodamas into field, they see each other. So you put the second Kodama down, the second Kodama triggers the first Kodama, which puts in Tezzeret, for example. Anything that's less CMC, right? And then, because that second Kodama has already ETB'd, when Tezzeret ETBs, both Kodamas see it. So you can put 2 permanents into play. Permanents? Yes, put a permanent into play with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand to the battlefield twice, and you continue this until you find Moloku through a survival effect or a... we have a couple other tunes here that I'm not super familiar with. We can find Moloku with this step through, which is so spicy. And then we just make Moloku... we return lands with Moloku, which we can also put into play with Kodama, by the way. It doesn't limit to non-lands. So we can put our lands into play. We have a couple of spicy picks, like, where are we at?
Desert's your big one.
Ouroboros, Palace in the Clouds, so we can continue to bounce itself to hand and put it back into play again. And we can do that to make...
So you make like infinite mana, and then you can like win with infinite mana through like a finale or something like that. Otherwise, you get desert and you like make infinite ETBs, and then every time it ETBs, it deals a damage to a player. Yeah. So then you just damage the whole table with infinite land enter the battlefield effects, and no one can do anything about it because you're not casting anything.
Yeah.
So if they don't have like a land, like some way to destroy lands, then you're just shit out of luck. And then not only that, but they need to be able to do it like on multiple instances, because you could just bounce it back to your hand in response.
It is very hard to interact with this deck because creatures are uncountable. Scoots has said it once. They said it 1,000 times. Creatures are impossible to interact with. We can't kill this shit. We're on AC. There's nothing you can do. So unless you're holding a Swords Removal for the first Kodama before the second Kodama comes down, you're kind of shit out of luck. If you don't have a response by then, you're probably just dead. Which is how Otawak has gotten up this far up the standings. I mean, in 9th place with the Kodama Sakashima is actually pretty incredible. We'd love to see it. But there's me at 8th. We've gone through my deck 1,000 times. We're not doing it again. Mastermind, I played against them. No, I didn't. I didn't play against them on their Atali Primal Conqueror deck, but I did see them playing, and I was very taken aback. It's in the top 16. It's in the top 50%, so it's not to be slept on. Atali, despite being a casual commander initially, has now transformed into this like Gruul good stuff deck, where when it ETBs, each player exiles from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among them, and you can transform it into a giant fucking 8/8 11/11.
Wait, I did not see this fucking deck.
Yeah, so it was just chilling in the top 16 match, having a great old time playing Sweet the Immortal, running Food Chain. I'm pretty sure. Yep, there's the Food Chain. Just running classic Gruul combos, but also if they get up to enough mana or life, they can just change Atali to an 11/11 with poison counters.
Poison
counters. And how the fuck do you deal with an 11/11 indestructible creature if you don't have swords in your deck? You don't. You just die. So we have Reckless Fire Weaver in here.
It plays Mind Goblin?
It plays Mind Goblin. Yep. Where's that little motherfucker? He's so little. Let me find him. Is this in
Where is he?
Where is he at? Am I dumb?
Yeah, you are 100% dumb.
I see Mezio Mugger.
The card's name is Mind Goblin.
Oh.
Do you see it now?
This thing's wild.
Yeah, it's a sticker goblin.
Why
it's
the
like
fuck?
It's almost like deterministic that it goes up mana, at least 2 mana.
Sure.
So yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Have you never played with Mind Goblin?
I have never played with Mind Goblin before. I've never had the pleasure, I should say. We're on Dualcaster Twin Flame. We're on good stuff. Yeah. I've learned after playing against many a well-tuned, high-powered casual deck that just looking an 11/11 beater in the face or even on its reverse side, a 7/7 trample beater in the face, really quickly just screws over your entire strategy.
Well,
Plus,
this
Mezia
thing
Mugger is not to be slept on, by the way.
this thing also plays 8 forests and 5 mountains and runs a
No.
ruination to destroy all non-basic lands.
Oh, God.
Yeah, a lot of really interesting cards. Has Brotherhood's End.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like a really cool like sweeper. You got, we talked about the Mind Goblin. It plays like just like dual caster Twin Flame and a lot of other like very interesting things. It also runs Magus of the Moon, which is kind of cool. With only having like what 8, you have 12 basics in the deck, so like pretty risky to run Magus, but like it probably pays off, especially if you're only in 2 colors, so like what does it really matter? But yeah, kind of a cool deck. Kind of goofy. It's weird that they're running like Minsc and Boo in the 99. Like, how about instead you just play Minsc and Boo? But I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun deck. It was nice to see. It definitely took Zane by surprise, and Zane was rooting for them. It was pretty cute. But yeah, great job, Mastermind. Way to break the meta. We can look at Sharky's list for about 2 seconds. We're on a fucking Hullbreaker Horror and Tevesh Krom. Yeah. Other than that, it's a classic reanimate package. I guess it's not really classic because not every Tevesh Krom deck is on reanimates. I've seen 3 different Tevesh Krom decks when I went to Titan. My brothers, Aaron's, and Sharky's, and they're all relatively different. Sharky's the most. But I mean, he consistently top 16s, and he runs Meme Betrayal, so it's a good deck. Clearly.
Yep. If
Yep.
you run Meme,
Yep.
you run Meme Betrayal, it's got to be a good deck. Just like I don't know. I feel like Tevesh Krom, Spencer plays it a lot now too. It just shows that it's like very resilient and has really good mid-range game. Hullbreaker Horror is like really cool to see Eric running because it's like the card is strong. It's strong as hell, and once it lands on the battlefield, there's no stopping it.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see like different approaches to Grixis because everybody thinks like, oh, Grixis, you just go fast.
It's solved, right? Yeah.
Below your load on the table and then
Yep.
you're all good.
Classic.
But no, this is like a more mid-range approach to ad nos and to turbo nos in general, and it's like very cool to see like how it handles card advantage and resources. And so I don't know, I find it pretty fun. Yeah. It wants to wine and dine, where our boy Fonzie's saying in the chat.
Right. Looking through this primer, they actually don't mark Hullbreaker Horror as one of the most like powerful game-ending cards in this deck. We're looking at like Narset Wheels as one of them, Displacer Kitten is another, and Tevesh is the last, obviously. There's one more that I'm missing here. Maybe it's Hullbreaker Horror. Maybe I lied this entire time. But yeah, I think a lot of people really don't understand how uninteractable a kitten can be if you have a non-creature spell of any kind and a way to find that payoff, because once kitten's on the field, you can just, as long as you have any non-creature instant, as long as you have any instant in hand that you've been drawing off Tevesh this entire time, you can protect your kitten all you want, and it's uncounterable. So if anything, the weakest part of the deck is when we were reanimating kitten. So yeah, pretty good. It always gets there, and it's just hard to kill a Tevesh, as easy as it may sound. Memo's list: speed need no translation for Mox Masters May by Memo. Memo's so great. Always
Memo, notable brother of Pingmeister Pong.
Yeah, they're just two good boys fucking up the cEDH meta. Bring in all of these repetitive win conditions, so if we lose one, we find another. We're on Chance for Glory, which is so funny. I'm pretty sure he got Deluge and he just like revealed the Chance for Glory and he was like, oh, this sucks. Because Indestructible doesn't get around -X, I believe. Or does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
Indestructible is like destroy and kill.
Forgive me for not knowing this interaction in cEDH. We're on fucking Smothering Tithe and Najila, which I love so much. I'm getting so high on Smothering Tithe because it's just another like, it's The thing with these 3 enchantments here, this 4th one stands out, but these 3 enchantments, they're so good that you want to counter them, but in the face of a better, more game-winning spell like Breach, you can't afford to counter them, right? So you don't really have a choice. But they are such good value engines that they might as well be win cons by themselves. It's absolutely insane. But we'll move on pretty fast. Everybody's seen a Ninja list, but we have a couple of little spicy includes there, which I always love to see memo on. Always a great player, always topping. Freedom Waffle, definitely a controversial, part of the controversial top 16 game that we will touch on briefly. On Dargo Thrasios, I didn't play against this deck. I know that we're not on Reanimate because we're on Tidespout Tyrant and Kinnan, as well as 18 other or 16 other good creatures in the deck. And we're just looking to kind of do like value teamer things, but not polymorph, which is so great and we love it. We're once again on Fairy. Everyone seems to be kind of like feeling this card out. I've been recommended it for Niv so many times, but I just can't. Obviously, this last piece of this last ability, this pay 4 each player draws a card, is basically not text, because regardless of the fact that you're drawing extra per opponent's draw, or per one opponent's draw, it's really not good ever to be drawing your opponent's cards, especially if you're paying like bad Thrasios mana into it. But I'm interested in the card. I think it's definitely good enough to be controversial. It's not good enough to be staple yet, but we'll see how people feel in a month or 2 after they've been testing it for a while. We're on all the good instants. We're on all the Chords of Callings. The more I play with Chord, the more impressed I am by it. This is always cheap to cast. You're always paying with this green with your creatures. And then we have the Judge from a Birthing Pod getting all this good stuff into play. It's just like kind of neat because Training Grounds just like slots so perfectly into this deck. We're Greater Gooding for Dargo. We just have all of these different commander pieces, be it Bergie, be it Dargo, be it Thrasios, be it Kinnan, where we always have something else to pivot to, and it's pretty sick. We just get that Seaboard out and we go wild. Gary the Wizard, I played with them at Finch and Sparrow in SoCal for a while. Boy, does SoCal love its weird Mardu decks. But this deck
it's a dumb trend.
It's a dumb trend. It's definitely a SoCal thing. It was started by one person. They were like, "Holy shit, nobody knows what the fuck we're doing. This is awesome." And then you just get Valley from Jessica. You get cards from Timna, and
the Dami Mommies,
and you just draw all of your good white cards that protect your win because you don't have blue and you don't need it. You have the new staple black card, Hoarding Broodlord. Why would you even run Razaketh when you have Hoarding fucking Broodlord?
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's bad Razaketh. I don't know.
When Hoarding Broodlord enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, exile it, and shuffle. For as long as the cards are exiled, you may play it. Why would you?
Yep. Isn't it?
I mean, it's not like bad Razaketh. It's just a Convoke tutor. That's also a 7/6 flyer, but it's a free tutor. So essentially, you're paying 3 mana. In theory, it's best case scenario is you're paying 3 mana to free play any spell in your deck.
Yep. I mean, Blind Carl.
So like, what do you get? Peer into the Abyss? Like, what do you get?
You usually get one of your combo pieces. I don't think you go for Peer here. I didn't play against the deck.
No, but you saw it in half. Oh, fuck.
You saw it in half, you get 2.
The boys have let me know. They've revealed. That's actually insane, because then you get 2 of them, and then you can go get... Oh, my God.
Yeah, you can just go get your combo. Yeah.
That's wild.
It's an incredible deck, especially when your opponents effortlessly allow your Grand Abolisher to resolve. And again, Brewer's advantage. Nobody has any idea what the fuck your Oswald Fiddlebender is tutoring for. Of course, they're not going to kill it. They're not going to kill your Goblin Welder or your Goblin Engineer when they have no idea what's going on. Are we on Bullis Citadel? Of course we are. No kidding.
We're also on Voldaren Epicure.
Yep.
Staple staple
Oh
cEDH
my god, I
card.
can't believe this thing is still happening. It's a combo piece. It just ETBs infinitely with something. I have no idea,
You just
honestly.
make infinite blood tokens.
I guess so. You know, you just deal 1 damage, to each
No, no,
opponent.
no.
on
I think you
ETB.
clearly want the blood token portion of the
You're
card.
kidding, right?
Um,
I'm
no.
pretty sure it just ETBs and deals 1 damage. Anyway, we're moving on. Gary, great job on the win. Loved playing with you. Loved playing with this deck. It's always just like great snap back to reality where Mardu is still relevant in cEDH because it has white. It's incredible. And placing in 3rd in Swiss, yeah, right, because this wasn't updated. Yeah, 3rd in Swiss, pretty insane. Wait, that doesn't make sense because they wouldn't have been 2nd. Yes, they would have. Yep, 3rd in Swiss. Anyway, Goblin Fort. Moving on. Rogsai, classic. We're on Narset. We're on Notion Thief, just like Mitch was. We are on Bergie. Well, I don't think Mitch was. Question mark. I don't remember. But same thing. Last Chance Warrior's Oath. These cards are literally in the exact same positions as Cycrypt. Is in the exact same positions as Mitch's was. As you can tell, this is a very solved list. We have a couple of cards that are flex positions. We have the Dress Down and the Necropotence, the exact same 5 enchantments. This is literally Mitch's list, or vice versa, copy pasted. It's a great list. It's resilient. It's hard to follow. It's faster than everything else. It's incredible.
I feel like it's running way less creatures than Mitch's list.
7 versus 7.
Oh no, yeah, you're right.
Are
What
these the exact
hell?
same creatures? Yes.
I think they
yes. Exact same creatures. That's so funny.
are.
Yeah.
Wait, there's 27 instants in this deck. 20, yeah, it's like a
16
copy
sorceries.
paste.
Yeah, I think it's a copy pasted list. But yeah, it's incredible. It's a great list. You can take this list and many blue farm lists or TNK lists to any tournament, and you can do well because the deck is so good. But once again, we are seeing I am bad for not playing Dockside by Punny name. Punny is someone that I played against twice. Once in the Swiss rounds, first Swiss round, and later in another Swiss round, where we just kept getting absolutely destroyed by that first Atraxa cast. We are looking to keep some kind of value piece, be it Smothering Tithe, be it Risky Study, some kind of payoff. We're not even looking for Food Chain and Opener. We never are looking for Food Chain and Opener. We want some way, be it Mana Vault, which they cast both games I played against them, or be it some way to, I guess, fimage your opponent's dockside running both copy effects. But we are trying to get this giant 7/7 thingy out early, because the earlier we get out, it snowballs so fast. It's absolutely insane, because then we cast a track, so we see 10 cards. Of those 10 cards, 1 finds Displacer Kitten, and of those, when we cast Displacer Kitten, we flicker tracks, and then we win the game.
Wait, whose deck is this?
This is Punny names. We saw also somewhere in the tournament, Chris.
No. What's their name on? What was their name on the bracket?
I hate you.
What do you mean?
Anyway, Chris was also in this tournament. Christopher Claw didn't do as well this time after winning the last one, but attracts a Grand Unifier. Again, a great deck. We don't have a primer, but I'm sure there's one out there. We're just looking to, it's kind of like what Tevesh Kram has been getting to, where you're just trying to get out this big giant asshole, and then also run every value piece, every win condition in the format, be it we're on Notion Thief, right? Yeah, Notion Thief wheels. We're on both Windfall and Time Twister, or a giant Calling the Ritual that just resolves and lets us cast Atraxa, or just classic Tainted Path Oracle. We have that as backup as well. Being in every color except for red is just such a huge payoff, despite the fact that you're not on Dockside and you're not on Breach, or you're not on Wheel of Fortune. So we don't need red, because clearly without it we are placing first in Swiss. Pretty insane. But that is wrapping up Mox Masters May. We can do a brief little insight, very, very brief. I'm sure we've all been on Twitter for the past week, past couple days. But basically, in this semifinal round, we had Freedom Waffle and Nope, that's not right. We had, in the finals round, we had Goblin Fort on Roxai, we had Gary the Wizard on his Mardu Jessica Timna list, and we had Freedom Waffle on his Thrasios Dargo list, and we had Ping on Kinnan, and this was the turn order. And Gary the Wizard was presenting when putting Grand Abolish on the stack. Freedom Waffle had already revealed a Mindbreak Trap to the table, and Pong was sitting with 4 open mana and Thrasios on board, with plenty of cards in hand to attempt to interact with his Grand Abolisher on the stack. Freedom Waffle is first in priority, to which he got priority with the Grand Abolisher on the stack, and he basically said, like, hey, what do you guys have? Obviously not really talking to Goblin Fort, because at that point I'm pretty sure they had presented at least one win. Statistically talking about Roxai, they probably did, and they probably were low on cards. But Freedom was basically looking at Robin, Pingmaster Pong, and saying, hey man, what do you have? Like, I'm not going to use this this Mindbreak Trap in my hand, because he would be hard casting at this point, because strategically, this is why Thrasios is bad, by the way. Gary was playing around that Mindbreak Trap by casting that Grand Abolisher first, going for the win right away, instead of deploying any rocks in hand, any like value pieces that could help with the win, and instead choosing to play around that Mindbreak Trap while it was still online. So he was basically saying, like, hey, I'm not going to tap out to cast this to hard cast this Mindbreak Trap unless you show me what you have, or attempt to activate Thrasios with their 4 mana on board. And Pong was like, hey, you have the Mindbreak Trap, I'm not going to do that. I'm absolutely not going to tap out when you have the answer in hand. So if you pass priority to me, I will pass. And Freedom basically just called his bluff and said, like, hey man, I can't afford to tap out either, pass priority to you. Pong passed priority, Goblin reset priority by tapping a land. It got all the way back over to Freedom, and Freedom said, nope, still not doing it. After, basically, I'm summarizing a lot of discussion. You can go on Twitter, or you can watch the stream back to listen to this table discussion. It's definitely like, it's a textbook cEDH moment. There's a reason that it's been making so many waves on Twitter, is because, I mean, this priority bullying, this mana bullying kind of strategy, it has been, like, existing for years. We've been aware of this strategy to try to force your opponents to have something, but we've never really had a situation this publicized and this big as big as a Mox Masters finals, where the Mindbreak Trap was in hand. Like, the answer to the Grand Abolisher was in hand and visible to the entire table. It was revealed off Thrasios. Everybody knew that this existed, and he refused to be forced to made have it, basically. So he refused to get baited into using that Mindbreak Trap, and instead they just lost the game on the spot, because I think Freedom was certain that Robin had something, and was not willing to get bullied into using his only piece of interaction. Or I've seen a lot of discussion where he just really wanted Robin to tap out so he can win on his turn uncontestedly, which is totally a fair point. Obviously, this is competitive Magic, and you have to try to angle shoot where you can, and politic in a way that enables your win the most, which is a respectable decision. But now that we're going into kind of our opinions, Adam, I think that this is something I definitely would have attempted at first, and saying, like, hey, guys, I really don't have anything else besides this. I need to see what you have before I tap out for it. I'm passing priority. As soon as Goblin resets that priority with a land, gets it back to me, I think I'm definitely using that Mindbreak Trap there, seeing that my attempt to priority bully has failed, and just go ahead and not lose the game. But
I mean, I feel like I thought that tapping the land to reset priority is the priority bullying. Like, in my eyes, like, you had the political conversation, right? And the political conversation is, like, hey guys, do you want to reveal any information to me to let me know what you have in hand? And when the answer is no, you don't want to reveal any information yourself. So if you don't want to cast what's in your hand, you should just pass priority. The whole idea of, like, well, I'm going to pass it to you because you're last in priority and you have mana open. Like, sure, that's a strategy. But if someone tells you, like, if you pass to me, I'm passing, then maybe cast your spells. I don't know. I'm, like, not a fan of, like, priority bullying or anything like that. Like, with, like, revealed information, you know, like, I think that, like, I think that Yeah, and like Dan says it there. Priority bullying and mana bullying are different things, and
Yep.
in my eyes they are. Like priority bullying, I think is like a legit strat. Like if you reveal something off of a Thrasios, and I know that you have it in hand, I'm gonna pass to you, whether or not you're gonna cast it, right? Because I know that you have the answer in hand. If you choose not to cast it, that's a risk that I'm willing to take, and that's how the game is played, right? Tapping lands for mana to reset priority. I never do that shit. That's just some big loser energy. Just fucking play the game and lose when you lose, you know? That's
Yeah.
how I view it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like yeah, exactly. As Dan is saying it there. So, I don't know. Like you revealed something off of a trigger, right? You have it in hand. I know you have it. I'm passing priority to you. Save the game. It's your responsibility. And if you say, "No, I'm going to pass turn or pass priority," then it's like, well, we lost, you know, shit happens.
Yeah. Robin later told us that he had Forest Resculpt Swansong in hand, so he had the answer and chose to lose the game because he was like, "This is not something you do to people when you're first priority." Yeah, it sucks to do this. It sucks to have your spells revealed and be first in priority to cast it, but like, I'm sorry, man. You have the face up Mindbreak Trap. If it's me, and I promise this is the last thing we're gonna say about it, once my spell is face up, I am doing everything possible to get it out of my hand, because I think that the most effective strategy in cEDH as of now is deflection, right? And you can't deflect that you have nothing if your opponents know you have something. I saw a lot of discourse on Twitter about how I'm holding on to my known interaction for as long as possible. I disagree, but
Miss here, I'm going to address this. In chat, you have Miss Hodem that says, why cast your Mindbreak Trap if you don't know anyone can stop what comes after Grand Abolisher? Because you don't win if Grand Abolisher resolves.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Yep.
If Grand Abolisher resolves and hits the battlefield, the game is done, right? So you have the face-up spell that's revealed that can stop this. No one else has any other revealed information. Therefore, you can't assume that it's okay to pass priority. Therefore, cast your spell. That's how I view this, right? And as Shauna said, if you have any information that's revealed, get it out of your hand unless it can be used as some type of tool later in the game, right? You see like Mike Sad is really good at that, where like, you know, he has this card in hand, but he's not going to cast it and make you play around it the entire time. The other opponent's already playing around the Mindbreak Trap, so you better cast it, right? It's a big thing in 60 card Magic. And this is like, I'll bring up the topic of like, cEDH players and EDH players in general don't understand game strategy because you don't play enough formats and you don't play other formats to get used to these types of things. If I'm playing anything that reveals something in my hand, the first thing that I'm going to do is play that thing, okay? Because otherwise what I'm doing is giving more information to other players at the table. If I have something that's like, oh, you know, reveal the top card of your library, and I reveal a forest, and then I draw my card for turn and I play a plains. Now you know I have a forest in hand. That's information that you didn't need that I gave you for free because I'm not playing with my known information, right?
Yeah.
So like you learn that by playing other formats that like revealed information, you want to get rid of it most of the time unless you think that it benefits you in some way. Holding on to that Mindbreak Trap in this scenario, in my opinion, does not benefit you. You are unaware of what your opponents have. You can't just say, oh, you have 3 mana open, so you have to have a counterspell in hand. That's how you lose to people like Shauna, because you just assume that she has every counterspell in the game, and then you realize that she didn't have it, and you pass priority to her when you had something in hand, right?
Yeah,
like
I totally realize
like
the strategy behind like I get making your opponents have it, and this is making your opponents have it. He is playing the Grand Abolisher first and making you tap out to it. But yeah, I totally get the idea that you holding cards in hand gets you free casts, right? So because I played a top 16 game of Punt City 2 with Mike Sad, right? He accidentally dropped a Swords to Plowshares on the field very, very early in that game. I played around the Swords to Plowshares and didn't cast creatures, my opponents didn't cast creatures because they knew that it was going to get swords. And in that case, if you're my Sad, you're getting free swords casts. Like, you are killing creatures by not letting them hit the board, and you're keeping your spell in hand, right? Like, so this threat is definitely a viable strategy. but it depends on the game, right? This is not the situation where you're trying to hold this Mindbreak Trap for future value, right? So, and I'd like to make the note that we're all very aware of the fact that Grand Abolisher is a creature that can only be stopped by creature counters, right? So Mindbreak Trap is most likely the only card at the table that can stop Grand Abolisher here. The likelihood that Robin or Pong has a creature counter here for the table is so fucking low. And the likelihood that Freedom Waffle even flipped the Mindbreak Trap off the top to have a response for the Grand Abolisher, so fucking low. Because creatures are uncounterable, right? That's why Grand Abolisher is so good. That's why white is still relevant as cEDH. Because you can't get around this shit. Like, these are silence effects that are impossible to counter. So when you have what is probably and assumedly the only answer to the table in hand, you have to fucking use it. Anyway, moving on.
I don't know.
Adam,
I just
you
think
have go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the discussion is kind of silly, and like the arguments on Twitter are kind of silly because like, I don't know. It just points to like, I feel like a lot of people point to it being like, this is why like cEDH is a joke format, or this is why it's a bad format. And I think like, no, I think that it's just filled with a lot of bad players with really big egos. It's like how I look at it. And not to say like, I'm not saying that like Freedom is that or that someone else is like that, but just more so saying that it's one of those things where like, just like play heads up. You can't win if you lose. And in that scenario, I feel like certain people were just playing to lose. And you know, not the good to lose either, like the cEDH commander. So I don't know. And then Miss Hodem is saying, like, in this case, Ping also had it, or at least said he did after the fact. So is it more important to make a point than win? Dying with interaction in hand, I think, is like a common thing in Commander. And when you are a player that is like, you're not revealing any information, right? So to the rest of the table, you're not making a point, right? If you die with interaction in your hand, nobody knows that you have that interaction unless you say something, right? So, like, I don't know. I play with a lot of players that like, they take risks and they accept risk, right? So if you're going to pass priority, knowing that you have a counter spell in hand, knowing that no one else knows that, you are accepting the risk that if no one else has an answer, I could just lose to this, right? But that's a risk that you have to be willing to take when you know that the game's on the line. If you're like, this force of will is so important to my strategy that I will not counter this spell in order to keep it alive in my hand. But knowing that I could lose by passing priority, like that's a risk that you accept taking. In this specific scenario, Pong was accepting that risk. The other player at the table was not accepting that risk because they have the heads up answer revealed. So therefore, like, you're just like throwing a big middle finger to the table and saying like, well, I'm not going to cast my spell then, which is stupid. And like Old Dirty Sock said, like, yes, you do have win percentage by like sandbagging interaction. You 100% increase your win percentage by sandbagging an interaction. The only thing is that sandbagging only works when no one knows you have it. That's like the big difference. When no one knows you have it, that's when your win percentage goes up. When everyone knows that you have it, you gain no political advantage. Like, you have no grounds to politic on. And like, and that's what I mean when I say that like these players have too big of egos, right? Because basically the scenario that I seen it as was like, one player was like, I know that I have the answer, but I'm not going to cast it because I'm not going to let you guys make me cast it. And then everyone else was like, well, then I guess we just lose the game.
Yep.
And the guy was like, well, fine then, but I get to say I didn't cast my spell, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, glad we did that, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. To me, it's just silly. And maybe we play in a silly format, and that's like the end all be all. But yeah. I did feel like the whole Twitter discussion around this was pretty dumb, and everybody like throwing in their arguments about like, this is why, you know, it's like, yep. No, you guys just like, you know, It's just egos. Everyone's egos are involved.
Yep, everything is fine. I love being in that first part. Like, I play control, right? Josh, older Sox in chat. Sorry to DOS you, Jax. Being in first priority here is really tough because you can use that as a position to either get absolutely destroyed because you're always the first to use your interaction if you're after the wrong side player or after whoever, and you're constantly having to interact first and use your spells before everybody else. But there's always that point of politicking power where you can be like, hey guys, I have one piece of interaction, or I have one very particular piece of interaction. I run Stubborn Denial in my deck, and sometimes it's off because I don't have Niv. Or I have Flusterstorm, right? And people can derive information from that. And that's kind of you saying like, hey guys, I know I'm first in priority, but I have a very specific piece of interaction that I have to use at this time. I have some interaction, but I'm going to pass priority here because it's not the right time for me to use it, right? But the most important thing about what I just said is you can like draw conclusions about what I might have, and you can believe me when I'm saying I have interaction because I'm giving you that information, but I'm telling you that it's not the best time for it. It's better for the table if I use it at a more opportune time. But that doesn't work for Mindbreak Trap because you know exactly that now is the right time to use it. Whatever, we're moving on. If you look at my screen, I'm going to switch us over to this very good, very awesome website. Hang on. Fucking bear with me for a moment. Boop. And then, boop. EDH events. We're going to look at some of the upcoming tournaments because there are so many of them, and it's amazing. If you go to EDH.events, and you look at all of the events near you, you can filter this in several different ways, and it's amazing. But we're going to look at Titan first. Titan Games is my LGS. It's run by, it's run mostly by Rob, my friend, but it is owned by this great guy named Ty, who is very into Warhammer. If you are like a Warhammer aficionado and a Magic the Gathering aficionado, make sure to come to this event. This is their 4th one, and they're really getting the hang of it. We already have 23 people registered, and there's always a couple more that show up. But we got a City of Traders on the line. Always a good, what's up, DMOC, EOD on Twitter. Love that guy. It's a good event. Adam's coming to 1. He got made fun of for playing slowly, but he was going through a really tough line, and he was having a rough day, and he did a great job, and he's a great player, and nobody should make fun of him.
If it was cut to top 4, I would have won that fucking event.
Would have won the tournament.
It is what it is. Why are we cutting to top 16 with less than 30 players? I don't know. TOs get better at the fucking game.
As I was saying, they're getting better at running their tournaments. They're kind of like, we're in this wonderful area where we have this thing called EDH Top 16 or EDH events, and we have this thing called Command Tower, where any LGS, no matter what the size was, they can run their own events. But obviously, a lot of TOs are new to this, right? They need help, they need assistance, they need feedback. So you can only give them their feedback and make your LGS's events better by going to them and providing that feedback, right? So keep going to these events, keep winning prizes. Easy money, easy claps, winning money. Continue on. We have From the Vault 3. I don't know what this fucking LGS is. Do you want to describe it, I guess, Adam?
Yeah. This is this really cringe LGS. No, this is my LGS that I own. And you see that we have 53 registered players for an event that's like still 4 weeks away. Cap out at 64. Look at that prize support. You get a From the Vault Mox Diamond, $75 for top 4, $25 for top 16. These guys must be pissing money away with the amount of prize support that they're giving out. But these are my events. I run tournaments in Milwaukee at my LGS. They're pretty cool. Shauna can attest. Nowhere else are you getting local monthlies with this many people, besides like New York and East Coast stores. So it's really cool to see this stuff in the Midwest. We've ran 2 of them already to great success. So, it's going to be pretty fun to keep doing these. We might even do some huge ones down the road here. I don't know. Maybe your boy just bought a time twister to run an event. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. But but yeah, this EDH Top 6 or EDH events has been a really good resource. And so I am very thankful to our Eminence team, to our programmers like Graham and Zane and everything for giving the community resources like this, because it was much needed, and they answered the call. So It's pretty fucking sick to see. And all these events that go on here get added to EDH Top 16, which is fucking sick. You've got our events on there. You've got the Bufftown Bullies events on there. You've got Rip and Ship on there. You got so much cool shit going on this website that if you don't know about it, now you do, and get on it.
Anyway, we have a couple more. We're moving on. Yeah, Adam's events are super cool. It is quickly, it did quickly become my favorite LGS to go to, even though it's an hour fucking away from my house. My good friends from Detroit, Michigan, always drive up and attend these events because they're so great. And Adam knows what he's doing. He's been casting for a while and been a part of the cEDH community for even longer. He knows how to run a good event. And you will never walk away from their tournament being like, oh, I didn't lose because I lost because of the TO is running a bad tournament. You lost because of your own fucking misplays, and then you go home with that pride. Anyway.
Or you lost because of like Zombie Tribal.
Or because of Zombie Tribal. Yeah.
That happens every once in a while.
There is one event a couple events that aren't on here actually. If you look at the Chaos Treasure Series 3, that is coming up on May. I'm not going to be able to find this soon enough because I'm under a lot of stress. But that's going to be coming up on May 20th, I believe. Let me triple check. But, yep, May 20th. That is a Saturday. And they are, this is their paid series. Obviously, we know that Chaos is famous for their free events. But this is a paid series that donates a lot of its winnings to charity. And they run really great events. Again, we have super fun times with these events, and they post all their lists to like Moxfield and stuff afterwards. I've played in a ton of these events and always had a good time. If you hear my dog barking in the background, I'm so fucking sorry. He's so angry. And then we have one more after that. We have, let me see if I can, if we go to cashcardsunlimited.com, we have the incredible Cassius Marsh from Cash Cards Unlimited in LA, running it back with CCU Cash Cards Limited 2. If you're looking to buy a time, or if you're looking to win a time twister for the low price of $200, this event is the one for you. It's going to be June 3rd and 4th in LA. We're all going to be there. It's going to be super exciting. There's not going to be a heat wave this time because that was fucking miserable before. If you've never been to Frank & Sons, that's where this is being hosted. It is a great big, like, if you think of an anime convention, if you've ever been to one, just think of that, but all the time, every weekend, in a big warehouse. That's what Frank & Sons is. It's a good place to be. Even cEDH events aside, I would recommend that you attend there because the venue is amazing. Their owner's literally named Frank, and he's a super cool guy. When I punted my win away, he was
Frank.
Like super. When I punted my win away, he was like, "Hey man, I'm so sorry. I don't understand anything about Magic. I just run the place, but you did a great job." And I was like, "Hey Frank, thanks man." But this is the prize pool. It's pretty fucking incredible. The fourth place, the lowest like single prize pool is this Mana Crypt that's like fucking $1,000 right now. Wheel of Fortune easily like $1.5 grand. Mishra's Workshop more than that. Time Twister fucking $7,000. I know it's pretty top heavy, but we're doing a little bit of a payout, a better payout than last year. Where we're doing payout to the top 16 with a collector's booster box, and top 32 gets a set booster box from March of the Machine, just so that you get like your money back. Obviously, your top 32 booster box will pull you $200 worth of cards easily. So yeah, make sure you come on out. Adam, any closing thoughts?
No, I'll see you fools at CCU. I'll be rogue casting the event, so it'll be a good time. But other than that, thanks for tuning in with us. A little bit of a longer stream today, even though me and Shauna discussed having a shorter one.
We were talking about how badly we both needed naps, and we're like, we're gonna chill, we're gonna make this short, but we always get carried away. Anyway, big thanks to Mythos Gaming, D-Train in the chat, always talking it up. Old Dirty Socks, I mean, you came in at the end a little bit, and you made some questionable takes, but that's fine. Yeah. Mythos Gaming, I remember you said early on I wanted to respond to it. You were like, when am I going to play a different deck? And I'm telling you, I'm playing Tevez Crown this weekend. I'm going to transfer over to Grixis permanently. You guys are all going to lose just more often whenever I'm in an event because I'm going to be playing black. It's going to be incredible. Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, either myself or Adam or Eminence's Twitter to see what we're going on, and follow us on Twitch here so you can see all of our streams on Mondays and Tuesdays. Bye bye. Adios. Have a good night.